Shayne Lloyd is an emerging young artist whose passion for painting murals has literally changed the face of Port Alberni. His story is inspiring and still evolving, and it's one that's anchored by his focus and determination.
I've always considered myself an artist first and foremost. Other things have happened, in my life, and yeah, I have, a wife and children, and, I've worked jobs, like, I used to work in banks and such, but I've always had this, creative bone just kind of, aching to be exercised all the time, and, ideas gnawing at me. So any opportunity, often up till 2 in the morning or up early in the morning to work on projects.
Artists are both born and taught. We asked Shayne where it all started for him.
Grade 2 for me was a year I can just remember being passionate about drawing. It started with drawing. It just so happened that when I was in grade 2, two of my classmates' dads were prominent artists in the community. I'd always be like looking in the studio and like, oh, this is amazing. And I just thought these people were like gods. After graduating high school, my art teacher suggested that I pursue art instead of the armed forces. So I took his advice and I found myself in animation school.
Shayne spent an intensive 11 months in animation school, but jobs in the field were rare. Life led him into a career in banking, which he enjoyed, but his natural creative energy needed expression.
I didn't realize what I was doing to hold myself back at the time, but I wanted to do art so bad, and I would be depressed, working a job. I'd be like, oh, I should be doing art. And if I saw somebody, a graphic artist, or you talk to somebody who's in art or doing some kind of artistic trade, I kind of was envious, and I was like, oh,
Creativity is an innate part of being human. It has allowed us to adapt, to invent, and to express who we are. There was early evidence that creativity simmered within Shayne Lloyd, but it took a single powerful moment to focus his path.
My mom passed away in 2004, and, she passed away in an accident. It was an interesting time in my life because I was, in my own personal life, I was making maybe poor life choices at that time. And I kind of found a common ground with the girl that was involved with the accident with my mom. I made some life changes, and a lot of my art from then on became about using a lot of reclaimed materials, So one attitude was changed for me was taking something that was seen as not any use anymore or garbage or trash, and reworking it and presenting it in a way where it really changed people's perspective of what they may have perceived as just an old window, an old door.
Well known for his murals, Shayne launched his career with his mastery of wood burning. Writing with fire is an ancient practice, but Shayne has refined and developed his own contemporary take on what is currently referred to as pyrography.
I think the root word's like pyromaniac, but wood burning, some people call it wood carving, but it's more wood burning. I was still doing lots of painting and drawing and stuff too, but I started to do wood burning. Wood burning for me became a lot more, dominant in my creative process when I was in Port Alberni, actually. I just started exploring the medium with scrap wood and anything I can get my hands on, really, Just take a single chair that's missing its, typically you get a chair and there's 4 that look alike or whatever, but sometimes you go to garage sales, it's just one of them. But you can make it more unique by doing a burning in the top of the chair and coloring it up and varnishing it, and it makes it kind of really one of a kind.
Shayne's home studio includes a series of workstations, and scattered about are vintage items he's collected. They speak to his interest in history and his respect for the story behind each piece.
I love history. So in university right now, with Vancouver University, I'm studying a major in visual art and in history. So with regards to any inanimate object, it's had a life. Charts that were used in boats, you know, they maybe add a date and they end up in some, you know, someone's garage. It's got a garage sale, somebody buys it, ends up in a secondhand store, and I see it and I'm like, I could paint like a fish on top of that map, you know what I mean? And there's history in the map and you can see the mark making on it.
Shayne's love of history is balanced by his forward thinking. He wanted work that fulfilled him and provided for his young family.
I made a decision. I was like, I'm going to go back to school and we'll make it work. And it's been the best decision for me. I just can't say enough. I think education is really important, you know, to know and to learn from other people that have gone out and made the mistakes, you know, before you, so you don't have to reinvent the wheel. You can make it a little bit better. You know?
Shayne's program at VIU includes self-directed study, giving him the opportunity to explore a variety of projects that interest him.
And so what I'm doing is I'm publishing a graphic novel. And this graphic novel is about a story that my mom told me about when I was a kid. And so the story is about a guy who in 1924 claims he was abducted by Sasquatch. Yeah, it's probably going to be a year-long project, you know. You know, I estimate, like I said, 60 to 70 panels like that. It's a cool project. I don't care about fame. I just want to be a working artist. By saying that, I want to be whistle while you work. So to me, that's painting murals. I would like to bid on jobs, you know, paint big murals and be able to provide for my family doing that. And if I can't do that, I'd like to be a teacher or a professor at universities.
Successful artists understand the entrepreneurial aspects of making a living, and the business skills that Shayne learned have served him well.
So I look at school as part of my business plan. And my business plan, a part of that plan is to create a stable environment for my wife and children. And I think at the end of the day is you have to be versatile. So I work online and I bid on jobs online. I do t-shirt designs, you know, with, you know, for companies in Australia recently. I've done an almond spread for a company in, I think it was Saudi Arabia at one point. And that's the benefit of the World Wide Web. It's really easy to get together.
Shayne's historic mural series in Port Alberni's Arts District was seeded by a nearby stretch of blank concrete wall.
A 60-foot retaining wall. It's about 4.5 feet high. And I saw that wall and I was like, oh, that'd be amazing to be able to paint like a big whale or something on there. And I approached him, I said, you know, can I paint a mural on your wall? I'll do a mock-up sketch, you approve it, and then maybe just cover the cost of paints. And they were all for it. We came up with a theme and kind of inspired by Port Alberni. They weren't supposed to pay me, but they actually, at the end of it, they were so generous, they actually gave me a check. After I thought, well, maybe I could do more of this like for work, right? So yeah, from that stemmed other opportunities by, you know, I learned how to set out a grid and how to paint from that grid and, you know, go from your blueprint. And yeah, it's really launched into different murals around town.
Shayne's newly honed skill in mural painting combined with his natural interest in history, an idea began to develop.
I started looking through the historic archives of Port Alberni, of that area, and I thought, wouldn't it be cool to kind of have those sepia-colored photographs, you know, painted on the sides of these buildings. The first project that we took was the Capitol Theater, and what we found was an image of the opening day from, I think, 1939, and it's a really interesting picture because in the background of that photo, you can see where City Hall is now. There's some other kind of building there that no longer exists, and all these patrons of the theater kind of lined up. Now it's on the side of the Capitol Theater itself.
With the support of RADCOR, a newly formed group dedicated to revitalizing Port Alberni's Arts District, Shayne completed a series of 4 murals within the area.
So there's 3 images on the McDermott's building, and what it shows is the first building that the McDermott's company worked out of. A car wedged in a building, you know, and sticking up, and this guy looking out the undercarriage of the car, right? So I think it was appropriate for an insurance office because, you know, in case of a tsunami, you're going to need some insurance coverage.
The success of Shayne's historical mural series led to a commission for his largest mural to date. It's located at the foot of Johnson, across from Port Alberni's welcoming figures.
It was based off of First Nations plate design. It was a memorial plate done by a very accomplished artist, Tim Paul, First Nations artist in town. With his blessing, I took his plate design and I refigured it, and I think it was 60 feet long by 22 feet high or something like that. But it was huge, you know, but it was a fun project, and, you know, I want to do so many murals. I love painting murals, right?
While Shayne's passion for painting murals is evident, the very size and public position of each piece can be very daunting.
When you have a mock-up, you're scared. You kind of got, like, you know, butterflies in your stomach. Like, is this going to work out? I've taken on something I can't do. When you get doing it and you see it come to life, it feels so good, you know. Like, I feel like I'm finally getting close to doing what I'm meant to do.
One of Shayne's greatest strengths is his diversity, supported by a boundless supply of creative ideas. One of his business partnerships is with a local craft brewery.
And we discussed a number of things, and what we came up with was chalkboard menus and some pieces of art.
Shayne honored an iconic part of Port Alberni's logging history with his depiction of the Challenger.
The story behind it, you know, if I can try to do it justice, is John, the designer, lost a son and wanted to get into something, and he said, I'm going to build a logging truck, and he got a drafting table, didn't know anything about drafting or anything, and he designed a logging truck.
Shayne's energy and his ability to juggle family life, university, and his growing body of work is quite extraordinary. We asked Shayne what he does to find balance in his life.
I just like being out in nature, like, you know, being around people that, you know, friends that I haven't seen in a long time. You know, I like talking with people. I think that's my, you know, when I'm not doing art and stuff, having cool conversations with people.
Shayne Lloyd's future holds great promise. He will always be diligently creating, but at the end of the day, his dream is a simple one.
You know, I don't have huge dreams, really. I just want a chicken coop. You know, I want to have a house with some pet chickens and a studio, which, you know, to me, that's my dream.